and welcome to a new episode of the Woollentwine Fiber Studio Knitting Podcast. My name is Jule and I'm the dye and maker behind Woollentwine Fiber Studio, which is a small creative space located here in northern Germany where I play with natural dyes and natural yarns. It's been a while since I've recorded my last proper knitting episode, and I thought I could maybe sit down and chat you through what I'm knitting on at the moment. It feels a really long time ago that I did this the last time, and I already have to apologize for any kind of sound issues that we might have, because we're currently having a little bit of trouble with recording, because where I live is where my studio is a very busy street, and we currently have a big scaffolding going on at the building. So during the week I cannot film because the construction work they're doing on the facade is so loud that you cannot hear me. And so the only time I have an option to record is on the weekends. And this weekend there is a so-called Straßenfest, which is like a little celebration of this part of the city and of a really large street that is just around the corner of the studio, and so a lot of people are going there, and so it might be a little bit noisy still. But I still thought it would be so nice to just chat about a couple of knitting projects with you, especially because it has been such a long time since I did this the last time. So despite any kind of sound issues that I don't even know how bad they are going to be after editing, but, you know, I just hope it's gonna be fine and that you'll enjoy this little cozy sit down. So grab yourself a nice beverage, depending on how warm or cold it might be where you are. Either some kind of nice tea maybe, or a cold drink, which is what I'm going for, because here we have over 20 degrees Celsius. It's quite a warm week, so yeah, for me it's gonna be cold drinks for today. But it was really interesting because some of you might have seen on my Instagram that I was in Edinburgh last weekend for a little trip to see the Really Good Gathering, which was a wonderful event. I hope by the time this video might be up, or the other way around, I'm not really sure, there should be an episode all about my Edinburgh trip. I'm trying this kind of new way of creating content in a way that it's a bit more of a vlog recap kind of video. I filmed a little bit during my trip, not as much as I had liked to, but I hope to have a little video up about this trip, so you can maybe join me virtually and see what I was up to. I will share some stories in that one and also show you what I might have acquired. You know, you don't go somewhere to like a yarn festival in a city that has like way more textile history than we have here without purchasing a couple of goodies, I guess. So that's what I did. And so that video will be up probably before I upload this one, so hope you'll enjoy. But yeah, during my trip I also managed to knit some things, and also my current whip situation is kind of, you know, born out of the fact that I was going on a trip and couldn't really work on the other project I'm currently working on. So I think because we don't have a lot of like proper FOs here, so I'll start with the FO section. There might be a separate video that I'm planning to show you all the samples that I have been working on and that also my mum has been working on recently. So a bit more, you know, finished object content coming in the next couple of weeks in preparation of the Wedding Wool Weekend, which is going to be an awesome event again this year, where I also will be as a vendor together with my friend Hannah-Lisa of Making Stories. So we'll be having a lovely booth prepared with a lot of things, and I don't go to many yarn shows like physically as a vendor because it's just a lot of stress and I haven't really figured out the logistics just yet. And I don't know if I will go to many in the future because it's also like very stressful, very rewarding, but also very stressful. And I kind of prefer to be at events and have the opportunity to socialize rather than, you know, being constantly busy with selling and being at a booth. So yeah, I don't know how many events I'm going to do in the future, but Wedding Wool Weekend is one where I feel very comforted and where I feel just very good about attending it. So but also I wanted to prepare a couple more samples for you to touch and see if you attend the event as well, because I think it's a great opportunity. I mean, I can showcase a lot of things online, but you know, it's never the same as touching and seeing things in real life. And so we were really busy preparing quite a couple of new samples for this event as well, that I hope to be able to show you very soon. But yeah, because of that, and because I want to kind of, you know, gather everything around those samples later on, I don't have a lot of finished objects to show. But what I can show you, and what you might have seen in the intro video about this base already, is my stick season sweater, which is a pattern by Rebecca Clow of the Crayabeya. Very fitting because she's from Edinburgh, so it fits the whole theme, I guess. But yeah, it's a beautiful unisex kind of pattern, and I worked this one in our Woodlands DK yarn, which is a limited edition 100% naturally brown blue-faced Leicester fibers. And I worked this one in a size 5 and lengthened the body a little bit because I wanted this one to be worn by my partner after the events, and so he is going to be gifted this sweater after I have had it at the Berlin Wedding Wool Weekend festival. But it was such a blast to work on this. It was just you know, I kind of love these patterns where it's really, they are simple enough to not constantly keep your head busy, but still, you know, are not just plain stockinette. So there is a little bit going on. And this was definitely one of those patterns. It has this textured yoke, kind of, though it's not a round yoke, it's a drop shoulder construction with a super nice shoulder detail. Like, this is the back, and you can see this super nice detail that then runs around the sleeves as well, like in the back and in the front. And then, let me see if I can show this, but then down the sides of the sweater as well. And it's just very, very nice. I love these kind of clever details. They really fit into my kind of minimalistic style that I just like. And then I do love when there's a little, like, very subtle, clever detail, if that makes sense. But yeah, then the sleeves are picked up from the drop shoulder construction and then knit in the round in stockinette stitch, as well as the body, which is also worked in stockinette stitch after the textured yoke. Then it's finished with a little ribbing down here, a 2x2 rib. And it's just beautiful. It has a double folded collar. That is also very nice. I lengthened the collar by 1 or 2 centimeters, I think, just because my partner's neck is a little longer and I think it would fit him better that way. But other than that, like, other than lengthening the folded collar slightly and the body a bit, I didn't necessarily make a lot of modifications to the pattern, despite it being designed for women's sizes. But Rebecca also has a sheet, if I'm not mistaken, on where she has a little, like, modification information for male bodies, so you can, you know, customize it to your liking. And I think it's very easy to, because it's a drop shoulder construction, to just create a larger armhole and just, you know, work the separate pieces for the front and the back a little longer in order for it to have a longer armhole and such. But yeah, Rebecca definitely guides you through some modification options of this pattern. And I'm absolutely in love with the fabric because Woodlands as 100% BFL is incredibly drapey and very silky, I feel, which results in a nice drapey fabric that I really like. And yeah, I'm actually a little jealous that my partner gets to wear this most of the time. I might steal it from him from time to time because it's just very soft and cozy and I really like it. Yarn-wise, I think I used around 500 grams, but I'll make sure to link my Ravelry project into the video and also in the video description below, because there's all the info about my gauge, you know, needle size and how much yarn I used, all in detail, because I don't remember right now. But yeah, this is my stick season sweater and I'm very happy with how it turned out. In general, I'm just very happy with this yarn because it's so, like, despite being just blended one type of color, it has a lot of variegation throughout, and it's not just a plain, you know, color. It has a lot of liveliness to it, I feel, because of the fleeces and the natural color just being, you know, shifting slightly. I'm just very happy with it. I also really enjoyed the pattern. It was just very simply written, and I'm always like hesitant on what I prefer. But I kind of feel like whenever a pattern is slightly shorter, I generally enjoy it a little bit more because I just get very confused about a lot of information. I know it's very good to have a lot of information in a pattern, and I think some people do also expect that. And it also depends on how you grew up. Like, I grew up with a lot of patterns by German designers and Scandinavian designers who I feel tend to be a little less explanatory in patterns and a bit, you know, more simplified. So that is usually what I kind of feel more drawn towards, because I just get very confused if there are a lot of text blocks. I don't know. By the way, if I sound a bit weird or sniffly or coughy or just out of breath, hay fever season is on. And so don't worry, I have my medication and it's all good, but I might sound a bit raspy or out of breath every now and then because, yeah, pollen are everywhere. But yeah, that is my FO for today. Let me share some more works in progress with you. So for my works in progress, I have 3 currently for different kind of use cases. I usually am a pretty monogamous knitter, but yeah, due to the fact that I was going on a trip, I needed a travel-friendly project, but also one that would not be over too quickly, and therefore I had to, you know, shuffle around a couple of things. But first, let me show you with my current oldest whip that I hope to finish very soon, because it's kind of my project that I take with me on the go, because I usually have a knitting project with me whenever I go to the studio, just in case, you know, I have a little knitting time while waiting for pots to cool down or, you know, yarn to soak or whatever. And so I had this little on-the-go project, and it is this one. I think I showed them on Instagram already, but these are the Snuggle socks by, I think her username is Along avec Anna. I will put the name somewhere. But it's a really cute sock with a little ruffle on the cuff. And it's worked in a DK weight gauge, so it's a very quick project, and it's super easy to, you know, take on the go. But I was also afraid that for going on a trip and having, you know, some time on a plane, it might not be enough to work on. But yeah, they are really, really sweet, and they're a lot of fun to knit. I'm using ovis sock, like our own sock yarn, non-superwash and plastic free. I'm using that one in the undyed ecru shade, held together with a strand of multicolored cloud silk mohair. This colorway was called Tutti Frutti, and it was launched as part of the April collection, or May, in March. I don't remember. But yeah, I kind of figured out a way on how to naturally dye silk mohair in multicolored shades, and I kind of was so curious to see how it would knit up held with just a natural ecru white. And this is how it turns out. I think it's so sweet. Like, it's a subtle multicolor, but very fun and very summery. So I really, really enjoy the look of this, and I thought it really suits the slightly playful pattern. But yeah, this is my little on-the-go sock project that I like to take with me to the studio and back whenever I just have a round or two to knit, and it's very fun. And I hope to bring these for the Wedding Wool Weekend event as well, so you can see how ovis knits up with a strand of mohair, because I really love the fabric. But yeah, so far about my Snuggle socks. I think I still have to put them on Ravelry. But I will do, and also update you on how much yarn I used. I should have plenty left over from just one skein of ovis and one skein of cloud. But I'm also wearing a shoe size 36 in EU sizes, so usually my socks just don't take a lot of yarn because I have small feet. But yeah, that is my current work in progress little travel project. Next up, I want to show the project that was the reason on why I had to cast on another thing, because this was not travel friendly, but it's wonderful. So this one is my book club cardigan, which is a test knit for Sari Nordlund, and I'm very glad that I was chosen as a tester, because I was eyeing this pattern ever since I saw her post about it for the first time. I'm really into these kind of classic old school cable type garments. And so when I saw this one, I knew that I had to knit it. It has this beautiful all over cabling and moss stitch combination. It also goes down the back. And I will say that this is not necessarily, it's not a mindless project. I mean, it's cables all over, and while I'm a pretty experienced cable knitter, it still requires some thought. And yeah, I am pretty happy with how this is coming together. I just yesterday just was able to combine the fronts and the back piece, and now I'm just working my way along the body, and yeah, it's just a lot of fun to work. But to be honest, it's not necessarily just very easy to do while you're busy with something else. So it really requires some attention. But yeah, I'm using yarn-wise, I'm using our BFL Romney DK in the colorway Almond, and I custom dyed our cloud silk mohair in a similar undertoned beige. So these two are held together throughout. And because I really like the original shade that Sari worked her sample in, which was a pretty warmish beige, and I kind of wanted to mimic that. Oh, we are having a little bit of light changes. But yeah, I wanted to kind of mimic that type of effect, and I think it's really beautiful. The fabric is lovely, and I got gauge spot on with this yarn combination. I think in the original sample, Sari used a type of woolen spun sport weight, and a silk mohair, but since woolen spun is so much more voluminous and BFL Romney is a worsted spun, I thought probably the DK weight would counteract the different, the volume in the woolen spun, and it did, and the gauge was spot on. So even with the recommended needle size, which is 4mm needles, if I'm not mistaken, yes. But yeah, this is my book club cardigan. I really hope I will make the tester's deadline, which is quite short, and so I really have to hurry up, especially because I decided to slightly size up to a size 5, because I kind of envisioned this as worn open, like a little oversized over a linen dress, and so I kind of didn't want this to be too fitted. So yeah, I also sized up, and this is why I still have quite a bit to knit on, so cheer me on that I can make the tester's deadline. But I really like the look of the textured pattern being slightly muted down by the silk mohair strand. It has a beautiful subtleness to it with this combination, and I think it's going to be very nice, also fit-wise. So quite happy with how this is coming together. And yeah, I guess I'm going to pretty much be exclusively knitting on this one for the next 2 weeks in order to make the deadline, because I still need to finish the body and one sleeve, if I'm not mistaken, and it's a lot of knitting. Like currently I have around almost 300 stitches per round, which is very cable-y, and so every round takes a while, but I will do my best to meet the deadline and get it all ready. But yeah, ever since my book club... Oh, by the way, I was wondering, I'm thinking if you're actually into this pattern, and if you'd like me to prepare suitable yarn for it, because I still have a tiny bit of my last, like the first spin of BFL Romney left, so I could potentially dye up some yarn for the book club cardigan. It requires quite some yarn, and it also is not necessarily a very summer-friendly project, but I feel like a lot of people were asking me about my yarn choice already, so I was wondering. Let me know in the comments or just write me an email what you think of this, because I could imagine it's going to be very beautiful. And yeah, I'm kind of inspired by this pattern a lot, so I was thinking I could dye yarn suitable for it. I will not make kits, because kits with 2 yarn weights and different sizes is just a logistic nightmare, but I think Sari is about to release this one end May, so if she does, then I think we could align having all the info for meterage and yardage out there before my shop update. But yeah, it's just thinking, so let me know what you think about it, and if you have any feedback on the idea of having some book club yarn ready. But yeah, so far so good. Next project I have to show was my travel project, that I was looking for something very mindless and easy, because I knew I will be traveling to Edinburgh. And not only would I have some time on a plane and traveling, I knew that I would also be around people for a while, and I wanted something where I could knit and chat and, not pay attention to a chart or a complicated texture or whatever. And so I signed up for another test knit. I know, it's kind of crazy, right? I used to do no test knits at all, and now I'm doing all of them. But I signed up for the test knit of the dianthus top by emmas.knits, and I don't know how to hold this up without it looking absolutely horrendous. This is going to be a mess, but... So this is a weird shape of a project currently. Excuse the state this is in at the moment, but this is the dianthus top, and it has, it's just a simple top with, this is the front, and then it, you know, it spreads out, and then there is the lower back, which is also why it's so hard to hold it up, because, you know, it doesn't have a lot of structure or sleeves yet. But it will have, and that's what really drew me towards it, it has a little I-cord straps with little tied bows, which is very sweet. And yeah, I love the look of it and how Emma also styled it, because she did not only style it as a top, but she also styled it with a long sleeve underneath, which was something I kind of enjoyed. And I wanted a very simple project with a lot of stockinette, and that is what I am at now, because I had the front had a few increases, and also both parts have a double folded hem. But once that was over, it was just plain stockinette for the body, and I managed to work all of this on my trip. So I cast on the evening before we left and just did the folded collar for the top front, and then I started doing the increases on my way to Edinburgh, and managed to knit all of this just on my trip. But I also have to admit there was quite a bit of social knitting time and also pub knitting time involved, so I was just able to knit a lot on my trip, so that is why I got so far so quickly. But I'm super happy with how this is turning out. Like, I really like the fabric. I'm very happy with my color choice. The yarn is our Linnen DK, which is a blend of blue-faced Leicester wool and some linen fibers. And I used the Linnen DK in our mulberry colorway, which is this nice variegated berry shade. And I think it really, like, let me show you in the swatch maybe. It really showcases the subtle marling effect that comes from the flax fibers not taking up the dye as much as the protein part, so the wool does. And so I really like the effect. And yeah, I have worked 100 gram skein, and this is my second one, so I think I should end up with using about 250 grams. But I also sized up quite significantly, because I think originally the top is intended to have quite little ease, and with how my body shape is and my height, I usually have to, you know, crop things and make them a little more boxy in order to, you know, fit me to my liking. And so I sized up slightly. I think I made a size 5 as well. And I decided to, you know, knit it a bit more, like it is a bit wider than what the pattern intends, I think. But it's gonna be quite nice, I think. And I'm also just trying, you know, I will try to do the I-cord straps next, so I can try it on and see how much more length I want. But I will have plenty with the 3 skeins I took for my size. So it's quite a good project for, you know, smaller summer projects with less yardage, where you don't have a huge sweater lying on your lap while you knit on it. So it's a quite a nice summer project, I guess. Yeah, but that is so far about my dianthus top. I want to show you what I'm using with it. This is a little stitch marker that I got from my friend Aude of Bubbles and Berries. We met in Edinburgh because she's based in Edinburgh, and I couldn't resist ordering some of her stitch markers and having a little in-person exchange. So that was very handy, and I've been wanting to try her markers for a really long time. So this is from her meadows set, if I'm not mistaken. And the petals of the little flower that she embroidered on the felt matched my yarn choice color-wise, and so I really enjoyed this and wanted to have it on the project. It looks a bit more orange on camera, but you get the idea. But yeah, so far about my currently very weirdly shaped top. I promise next time it will look like something when I show it to you. But it's a lot of fun to knit, and I can definitely recommend the pattern. Sorry for it being a little wrinkly. As said, it traveled. But yeah, very enjoyable, very mindless project that is just perfect for this time of year also, where you may want to sit outside with your friends in the sun that we are slowly getting here. So it's a very good project for that. And yeah, so far instructions have been very clear, and despite it being a test knit, I haven't run into like any major errors. And yeah, it's just very enjoyable to work on. But yeah, I have to focus on my book club cardigan for now and then get back to the dianthus top. But I really hope to have it finished for the Wedding Wool Weekend event in Berlin as well, so I can show it to you in person. And I also still have to set up a Ravelry page for it, where I can keep track of all my, like how much yardage was used and such in the end. But so far I would say around 250 grams, maybe 300, but really only if I will go a little longer, but I don't think I will. And this is also worked on 4mm needles, by the way, so quite quick to work as a top, and just a nice in-between project that I'm really excited about. Yeah, but I guess that is it about my works in progress. Let me know what you think of them if you like. I always love to read about your comments, and if I have forgotten anything, which pretty much always happens, just let me know and I will add the info that's missing. But I guess so far we're done with what I've been working on so far. Next, I will just chat you through a couple of things. Well, not chat you through, it's just, you know, briefly mentioning what I imagine on knitting on next, because I feel like I have a craving for more sock projects at the moment. I really hope to manage and knit more socks over the summer, because for some reason, whenever it's warm, I overheat very easily, and so which is also why I love to wear linen, because it really helps me to, you know, stay cool. But I really like to work on some smaller projects for the summertime, and I really want to make one or two more tops, and also some more socks, because I really feel like this is what I crave in the summertime, and it's just so easy to pop into your purse and just, you know, carry it around. In summertime it happens more often that we spontaneously go out with friends, or, you know, something happens that might require a little on-the-go project that is suitable for that occasion. So yeah, I hope to do that and just, you know, do a few more smaller projects. I also kind of feel like I want to jump on the wagon of those tiny small scarves that are currently very popular. I know that also Kaci of Young Folk Knits has just released her first pattern, if I'm not mistaken, which excites me, and there also is another one that I'm eyeing, and so yeah, a small scarf might also be something. And then it will be very hard to keep secrets, because I'm working on a lot of yarns in the background, like new yarns to release during the autumn-winter period, and so I want to also experiment with them and, you know, work a couple of samples and potentially just, you know, see how they behave and test them thoroughly. And for that I have a long list of samples already. I feel like I need 4 hands at the moment. It's just really, there are so many lovely projects out at the moment, so Feel free to drop me your favorite projects at the moment in the comment section, because I always love to be inspired by new releases that I might have not come across yet or that I just missed out on. So if there is something you want to recommend to me, please leave it down in the comments below. And yeah, I guess for today's episode, that is it. I'm trying to keep episodes slightly more short so they are a bit, you know, more manageable to watch. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this little sit down and chat. Let me know, and enjoy the summer whenever it's coming around, like if it's coming around for you, or enjoy the more breezy, colder temperatures if you're in the southern hemisphere. And I guess until next time, enjoy your knitting projects and see you soon. Bye.